Hello there. I didn't hear you. Still didn't hear you. Right. What are we here for tonight is to realize that we're going into a totally new phase of life. They call it the Aquarian Age, or any age you want to call it. It's the water age. It's what we are, 95% water. It is what we're tuning to the energies that are coming into the world. And we're getting away from many of the old thoughts and ideas connected with life. It is a cosmic comedy. You're here with a suit of skin for a short time, popping out and coming back over and over again. And reincarnation is the coming acceptance with everyone. And it is proven by the very feelings that you have concerned with life. Our problem lies in realizing the old story of the minister that had selected his topic of the day about many are called and few are chosen. The little boy came home from the sermon, and his father asked him, what did the minister say? He said, I don't know, something about many are cold, but few are frozen. Now, many of us are cold concerning orthodox beliefs and ideas. And many of us are frozen and locked into proof. And the proof of all metaphysics, of all psychical endeavors, is within yourself. And when you stop and think, the energy you wear within the skin is an exact replica of your physical body, only it has 7 senses instead of 5. You tap into it all of the time. And I'm weary of people saying, is she psychic? Is he psychic? Am I psychic? Everyone is. Everyone where is a psyche. And everyone has the ability to turn on to this force. Many of us tune into a specific dimension that we have brought back with us in this lifetime to work out. And whether you like it or not, we all have a biological time clock. In the genes, we have a set time that we're going to pop out back into transition, not death, because once you accept that life is a series of attitudes, it's a state of mind that you can change and enter into other dimensions yourself. I have no monopoly on trance work, on healing, or of any kind of occult or metaphysical approach that we are making in humanity today. The great problem is, and I do not say it negatively, but we have lost the essence of what we represent. We are relying on others instead of ourselves. In other words, our world has become compartmentalized. Unfortunately, no more do we see the rural physician going house to house. We're getting so we're having a regular hospital where we go in one door and we go to various departments where they give aid to the liver or the kidneys or the stomach. And now they're thinking, well, we're going to have spare part banks where anything you need, they're going to give you. But everything but except the energy that you wear. Now, this energy has been measured. In the film, The Ultimate Mystery, which maybe we can show sometime, it'll show you how they've weighed what you are. And it's just a few ounces. They've proven, Dr. Moody, Elizabeth Ross, Life After Life, that there is continuity. And the problems that arise in all of our denominations of today, we're always busy looking upward or outward. And we're always thinking of this God, this deity, this infinite intelligence as being a peeping Tom. We think, some people say that they never undress in the light because they don't want God to see them in their nudity. Well, one lady said that she would never go to an undertaker because he might take advantage of her before they put her in the grave. These are the fears that kill you. Superstitions and ideas concerning what deity is. And again, it is inside of you. You are God yourself. And many of us do not understand this. And I take it from the old master Chatri, and this comes up through the ages. And he says, until the Lord is known as oneself, there is no freedom from fear and no real wisdom. And so we have to dispel the idea that there is a personified God and that we're always trying to reach him with our supplications and our piety, because again, God has a sense of humor, and we all display it at times. It might take a little spirit from the bottle. It might take a little dance, but it's getting into the joy and the beauty of life and realizing that we are God and there's nothing out there but frequencies of energy. Bottom line tells us that the most powerful thing in this universe is thought. We are only thought machines. And when we send out thoughts, we build or we destroy people, or we destroy our kingdoms, our plants, and our animals. So we have to govern our thoughts. But the idea, again, that there is a satanic force, there is a devil, there is hellfire and brimstone, is all figments of superstitions. Because on the dimensions of life, there is positive, there is negative. I'll grant you there's undesirables in the spirit, but we have the same problem on earth. So it's no different there than it is here. And you think you're going to rest after you get over there, forget it, because you're going to work harder than you ever did before. Really. And it is the time now to open your full spiritual or psychical world within you. The simple way to do it is to forget all you've been taught. When you wake up in the morning, before you start your thought process going, walk up to the mirror and say, "Good morning, God, how are you?" But if you're going to cling to the orthodox ways, if you're cold and you're frozen in limitations imposed because it all began, for instance, Egypt is a land where they had the fullness of life, the wisdom, the oneness, it was taught. Then the do-gooders came in and started the superstitions of the opposite forces, the negativity. And so this brings us to the duality of life which you people suffer. The difference between you and I never went through the duality. It was at just an early age that I had imaginary playmates. I enjoyed kingdoms beyond what you can realize, saw things that represented what we all believe in. And it's time that we forgot the idea of Christianity and moved into spirituality. Christianity teaches love and compassion. says, love everyone. Well, that's ridiculous. You know, you find people you wouldn't be caught dead with. But you don't voice it. That is your downfall. It is addressing yourself to the very nucleus, the oneness of all life, which is truth. We are a tree, and the tree roots from which we grow spawn the branches that give us the full 7 psychic abilities that we are looking for. What love is light, oversoul, vibration, and energy. And it is to love energy of everything, but not to place your love in very narrow channels. It is taking time enough to talk to the plants, the animals, and be one with the world we're in. And our world is sick today because we've covered Mother Nature with a plastic hood. We have said, now is the time to think. And life is not thinking, it is feeling. You'll notice that when someone addresses a question to you, you say, I've got to think about it. But actually you're saying, I've got to feel about it. So you reflect on the problem. Suddenly, the feeling is translated to the brain or the computer, which we now have in our world, translated into words. But you are feeling everything all the time because you live in a world, a galaxy of energy. And what is energy? Simple. It's the wind that goes by you all the time. Now that wind is forced by what the collective force of mankind activates in the electrical impulses of life. That energy outside of your body is not spirit. And it's not to get into fantasies. And you know the difference between brain and feeling. A gut reaction is always true. The brain is a fantasy, and it happens because we are all little receivers. We are constantly transmitting thought forms to other people and crossing with which is on the outside of us, which is called a Carillion photography. That is what is called the imprints of life. They are what surround you, and it's total recall of your past life or your past lives. And all of us have had experiences. You feel and you react to physical senses and your environment, and you meet one pathway where you say, I've done that before. And it isn't what science tells you, a genetic backlash from your genes and from former lives of heredity, materially. It is what you represent. And the proof lies in that no one is the same. There's a little difference. And thank God for that little difference. Because we are all striving for the oneness of life. Now let me tell you that I have been asked to join other organizations. Spiritual frontiers, mind control, biofeedbacks, endorsing different departments of philosophy, which I never could get a consent from Spirit concerning it. I have endorsed this organization by permission of Spirit alone. And I'll tell you why I've endorsed it. Because Maurice has opened 61 departments, which are listed here, of the different expressions of life that he's going to have, you're going to talk about, and you're going to become involved with. And it's the only thing that will defeat it, as I told him, was dissension. If that creeps in, then Maurice will no longer be in the world. So, on his purpose of the society, he's seeking to advance the betterment and enlightenment of all peoplekind in preparation for the Aquarian Age. And I've endorsed it because in this locality in Boston, it needs something where individuals can go and you're not treated like a group that you come and hear various lectures. It is where you join yourself, where you have potentials that want to be opened up, and no one's going to say you are a weirdo, you're ready for Section 8 or psychiatric treatment. It's bearing what you feel and know within yourself. But the thing is to remember, the message I leave with you is to get out of the thought of this looking up or outward, because what you're looking for in your beliefs and what you've been taught is not there. It's all inside yourself. And so we become involved in society. We set patterns of life. We're always concerned about our morality. That's a great problem. Your morality comes with you from each lifetime. Surrounding that body that Kirlian photography shows, the imprints of all you have been, is the full force that represents those former lifetimes and turns you on to your total expression of life. But again, truth is another name for God. And when you meet someone, you don't think, well, I don't like you, or I wouldn't be caught dead with you. You must learn to confront individuals honestly. It's like saying, I don't like you, I don't know why, but let's sit down and talk about it. What is it you don't like about me? That is the rule. Once you begin to use it, then you begin to see each other in a different perspective. You can always criticize someone. You can always swear at them. But underneath it all, when you get through, you say, this is not a criticism, it's just an observation. So you cancel out getting the negativity out of you, and it balances you and the person you are with. It is imperative that in meeting your own self and learning and exposing yourself to outer dimensional forces, and the reason why you're ill and we suffer and we have disease, it's the dis-ease of living that causes the disease. All disease is psychosomatic. A small percentage is karmic. Boomerang karma, for example. If you're a glutton in a past life, you accept when you come in and say, it's an experience I need, and so the doctors find you're suffering with malnutrition and anemias and allergies. You, as spirit, has accepted it, and you live it through, but once you have the experience and understand it, your miracle happens. Your psychic healers simply have a little more juice in their batteries. They act as a jumper cable to get you up out of your negativity so that you can hold a picture of health and realize where you're going and who you are and what you represent. But the doctor has the defeat He cannot heal you. He can relieve you chemically. But a healer, if it is done properly, raises your energy, and you stay in it, then you begin to feel good. And that is why I tell you, life is a series of attitudes. Everything you react to, everything you feel, is from within yourself and not what has been taught to you. Now, outside the body is the imprints I speak about. That is a whole collage of all that you have ever been. And everyone's been around the circle perhaps 1,000 times. You've been on top of it, perhaps kings and queens, perhaps in poverty, perhaps prostitution in Egypt. You've been through all the phases that are kindred to you because of your fears. And let me tell you, in all the years I've been working and flown out of the skin, I have never seen anything evil. It is a word saying error. And that's why we put erasers on pencils. So, as you move into a collective thought force, which is what this society is all about, Maurice has knocked himself out putting this whole thing together. Fabulous job. And I endorse it 100%, because as you meet together and share, you will find it will give you an increase of your own psychical ability. This spiritual ability we have not found up to the present time, because we cling to past experiences and limitations, and there's always somebody telling us what we should do or what we should not do. And it's when we look inside and say, I'm going to do it. And you ask for proof of all of this joy, beauty, and wisdom and truth that we live in, and that's all it is. But you can say, well, how about the Amityville horror? How about people that are possessed? How about, for example, the time that Jesus took the evil spirits out of individuals, threw them in a sheep, and the sheep jumped over a cliff and were killed? Simply because the negative influence that you attract to yourself becomes a part of you. And that's when you begin to delve in superstitions, or you accept undesirables around you. But it isn't evil. It's part of the balance of life. And if you constantly seek the highest, if you constantly express joy and love and beauty and wisdom, and if you want to begin to hear sounds you never heard, go talk to a tree. Pick up a stone and talk to it. Talk to your doorknob. When you flush the John, say thank you. Sounds ridiculous, but it is the compassion and the tenderness of life that opens widely things you will hear. And you will hear voices say thank you. Now all of this is to forget proof. I gotta have proof, or I won't believe. Or this man has got to have credibility, or I've got to have credibility. You cannot believe 100% in any form of spiritual growth until you have had it yourself. And you can't have it because we are sociable animals in the world, We need to congregate, we need to express, we need to enjoy each other as energy. And when we do, then comes our own proof. And then we dispel this idea everybody talks about is death. It is no such thing. It's only birth and rebirth. Why worry about death when you died coming into the house you wear? Whether you know it or not, you saw your karmic patterns, experiences that you have to work out. So you said goodbye to those that were around you and looked around, found the parents you wanted that could best suit your experience. And so you dove in and took that body. And remember that we do not become a living soul until we take the first breath of prana or life force, which is energy. Then we decide whether we want to stay in that disguise, and if we don't, we pop out again. So we say, well, it's a crib death, or we mourn about it. We have a lot of selfish tears, and through our thought force, we drag ourselves back into the earthly atmosphere because we won't let go of the things we love. We're very selfish in that respect. I've always wanted to see, and I'll ask each and every one of you here, if you dare, when you have your rebirth, don't come back and see who liked you or disliked you, nor go to your own funeral. Get out in the energies. Look for the highest. And you'll find teachers that'll be there to help you. And don't ground yourself, especially all this worry concerning abortion in our world today. That seems to be the popular subject everywhere you go. And it's ridiculous because nature, the animal kingdom, abort all of the time. Yeah. Okay. And there's no karma involved in it whatsoever. You're changing cellular life, which has not become a living soul. And to get out of all these things, I point this one out, the superstitions that all of us get into. We ground ourselves in, where am I going to live? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Do you ever sit down and look inside yourself and with a gut feeling say, I'm going to listen to the source and I'm going to follow it? When you do, you'll find it will lead you into your pathways. All you've got to do is move your material energy. Open all avenues. Then the avenues you open, the source makes it possible for you to move with it. But my message is, let's get with it. Let's get into our spiritual selves. Let's forget all of what we've learned before about our place in life, about all things somebody's always hammering into us, when we have a right to live an individual life with our dignity, with our joy, and all that are combined in other lifetimes past. You'll find reincarnation will be the topic that is entering your world in the next less than a year. And that is my message to you. Let's get with it and get out of the body if we want to, see visions, open up to our inner selves, because you're going to have to do it someday. And why do it on a hospital bed and suffer for 6 months with life support systems? Or ground yourself into the fears when you get over there you're going to be plunged into a very bad situation. It is now the time when the world is now in the thought, I'm afraid to live and I'm afraid to die. And there's no need to be. It's rebirth all of the time. Look at nature if you want to see it. Get out and expand yourself in the winds of life. There's your answers. It's being open with yourself. Now, what we are going to do is give you a demonstration of my gift, which is not mine alone because anyone can do it. And the only reason I'm doing it is when I get out there in my little cloud and dangle my feet over the edge, I don't want anybody coming up to me and saying, what do you think's going to happen to me? I'm doing it now because when I meet you, and we've all met before, you meet people all the time you feel you've known for thousands of years. Just pass me by and go find your own cloud. So I'm going to serve my karma, same as the avatars of old. Do it now, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it. Whatever is truth you establish in yourself, or whatever untruths you feel are unveiled, is beside the point. Now, just a minute on the demonstration of trance. It is nothing where you go into holy positions or you have to become pious and look up and pray. It is simply, the easiest way I can explain it, I'd open my awareness to all the glory and beauty of life. The minute I do, it is like some giant hand turned on a cosmic vacuum cleaner. And I feel this sucking of myself, that little ounce of me, out of my body completely. While I am going out, an energy moves in, sweeps over me, sustains the life support system, and talks to you from the other dimensions. And it is not to call and say that, hey, here's somebody that can solve all our problems. It is only acting as a guide for you to get you where you can do the same thing. I'm forever going out of the body, and everyone else is forever trying to get out of theirs, and I'm trying to stay in mine. And so I feel if I can get everybody into this work, where everyone comes together with this collectiveness, then you can enjoy the other realms. And if you want to go out like the animal does and find a place when you know you're going to discard your flesh and burn it, bury it, or whatever you want to do, and then leave it. But don't cling to your body. Another point, each cell in your body, which there are 90-so million or more, has its own consciousness. And you, through your feeling and thought, control what it does. You can pray all you want to until you can get in and talk to those cells. If you got a problem and say, hey man, get those liver cells going. Increase the frequency. I don't ask it, I demand it. And you can get on your knees and pray to God for thousands of years and he's not going to do a thing. It's up to you. You have to do it. And you can do it with that thought and your attitude. If you change your attitude, you change your whole life. So, your homework, if you want it, when you get up in the morning, before you think one thought, walk up to the mirror and say, good morning, God. That's all you have to do. So let's demonstrate the trance. You're talking with Dr. Fischer from out of the dimensions beyond the astral. You can ask questions of him, and Bob is kind enough to rephrase or amplify the question so all can hear it. So don't be bashful. If you got a question, yell it out. Listen to the answer. And forget your modesty, your bashfulness, and after you leave, you'll regret it if you don't, because somebody always says, well, I would have liked them to ask them a question, but I don't dare stand up and talk to people. And you can talk to anyone if you look them in their eye and in their energy. Because the secret is you don't look at people, you look in them. And you draw to yourself what you are. Okay?
Dr. Fischer order, assuming control of the water. And let me express one great thought concerning not a world you live in and function within your limitations. You live in one dimension of life wherein of the vast cosmos is other worlds, other suns and other galaxies, that you are but light and shadow that is shown upon your films of life, and you move through the illusion of materiality, yet your spiritual experiences through your own initiative is what gives you the full force of your identity and the never-ending cycles of life that lead you into perfection. Here in your orthodox ways, you speak of nirvana, perfection, of heaven, as you call it. It is never perfection. You only move to other worlds. You experience other races. You enter vast places beyond your dreams. And as you leave that house of clay behind you, there is the full expansion of your own source of being. Thus attaches you to the oneness of all things, allows you the fulfillment of yourself. And as I entered your dense atmosphere of energy, this room was permeated with what is happening to our world, what is happening in the future, and where shall I go? Let me remind you that history repeats itself constantly because the minds of men do not see the total reflection of harmony and balance of life. It sees only the forces of limitation which brought them into the world. It is the resentment of many that they have accepted the body they were of, their race or their creed, yet resent it not, because you have chosen it. And in that choice, it gives you an added advantage to complete it and to once again re-enter worlds beyond your dimension. And the opportunity is always there if you move it in the spiritual essence of what you represent in your world. Your future, as I've stated in history, is the beginning of the laws of self-sufficiency. This I have expressed innumerable times, not to alarm you, not to feel the world is in a hopeless condition, but you enter from this period and into your next 2 years of great changes in your climate, in your earthquakes, which shall increase in the ensuing months, of land shakes beyond what you can comprehend. And so again, the greed, the hate, the selfishness, the self-centeredness, the egotistical attitudes that are portrayed throughout humanity are now sucked into the void once again of other worlds and of other lives, until the world once again, as you know it, settles its dimensional problems. So it is a time to safeguard yourselves. You consider you've come from curiosity, from learning, from greater experiences that are being placed before you. But again, you have come here for one specific reason, that is to see the wisdom in yourselves through the association of others, as well as realizing that it is time to change your ways of life and find seclusion in places where you can feel or weather the climate which lies ahead of your world. In your next decade, look forward to the polar shifts that have happened innumerable times. And as suggested prior to my entrance, do not look to God or Supreme Being for your saving grace. Look to the inner convictions of your spiritual self in teachings. For you'll find that the firm energies of life do not respect the mortal frame, nor its solid energies of life. They only respect and adhere to the spiritual self within you. Here, moving yourself into the fullness of what you are totally convinced of, the association which I from other dimensions endorse in what is now being placed before you all. For you'll find through all avenues presented to you, those you will meet that will serve and help you in your concerns of life. And to you, Maurice, I say open a line of communication, your feeble telephones of the world, which shall be outdated as you learn light transfer, but open a line where you can be reached and where others can be serviced by those who have vision, who can help solve their problems. This should be a part of what your endeavors should be. And this is what I believe your world calls a warm line. Here, it is congregating more than ever, for you've come together to be teachers for those that you'll service as your world collapses around you. To say that it is wrong to continue to populate your world is a thought of asininity. For who are you to judge or play the supreme being of dimensions when all spirit out in the cosmos are seeking once again a new body to wear? And you are the ways and means of allowing them in the world to complete the kindergarten of experience in which you live. After their responsibilities and their realizations of their life, they move on into greater paths of destiny. And though nature itself seems harsh, the parasitic circle, combined in the rhythms of life, in the expansion of your universe, and of its total expression of spiritual energy in life, brings forward its continuity. Nothing is hopeless. Nothing happens without a reason. And as you move into the delights and respects of yourself, as you respect the little pebble on which you live, and as you embrace it to yourself, then you'll know the peace for which you search. How may I assist you?
Dr. Fischer, there was a quake today, I believe, in Cincinnati. Could you just shine some light on that? Is that another one of the forerunners? Will that be something that will trigger off another response on the West Coast? And will that be happening, say, in the next month or two?
You'll find that your recent quake, which was in the province of many miles surrounding it, was triggered or affected by the meridians of your Earth. Here, your recent volcanoes on the western coast caused the vibrational impact which opened the quakes that have happened in the recent day. You can experience another voluminous volcanic eruption from your one now on your western meridian. Also, the volcanoes of what you term Mount Etna and Mount Hood are all interrelated to the Anchitka blast of Alaska, which in the vibrational force of your nuclear ignorance is setting the chains of reaction that cause the outer extremity of your world to lose its synchronization or rotation. Thus you'll see greater electrical storms that will permeate your atmosphere. Your sky will become as fire, and you will find that it will limit you to the world and to the forces of life to which you live. That is why I say, congregate and open widely the channels of spiritual self, and do not be concerned whether you are saved or not.
Dr. Fischer, with respect to these quakes this man asked, with specifically the one in Cincinnati, in his worry about the relationship to the West Coast and other things which you've kindly answered, just very quickly, you see these quakes for approximately 2 years, 3 years, Doctor?
They are beginning at this time and shall increase into your year of 82, or in that dimensional energy, and also other increases.
I heard said that we should look forward to these changes that are coming. If that's so, I wonder why I feel such bad feelings just before the recent eruption on the West Coast, and why it doesn't feel good to me now.
Well, because you set within yourself a dual reaction. Here is the spiritual flow giving you thought forms of impending disaster or change, but which your rational thoughts and your feelings of being accustomed to your world cause the resentments that you feel. Here you have a strong talent in the sensitivity of receiving imprints of conditions happening before they actually are witnessed in the world. Again, change your reactions to positive attitudes, and you lose the duality you set up between the spirit and the brain.
I'd like to know from Dr. Fischer what kinds of attitudes are useful that you give up.
What attitudes that you give up is toward your expectancy of attitudes toward full positive thought force. Here, the introversion of yourself creates feelings of unworth. And here, as you change your thought process, then you'll change the full expression of yourself.
Dr. Fischer, do you see hope for mankind to recover from its present insanity?
Certainly I do. There is a fine line between sanity and insanity. And it is a constant recovery process of which life is concerned in all its experiences. It has happened throughout the ages. It shall continue to happen until mankind opens widely the spiritual attitudes of himself and sees the respect and dignity of which he conveys to the world and also to humanities in other worlds.
Dr. Fischer, do you know where the hostages are? Are they in one place? When they will be released? Do you have any idea?
They are still in one building where they have been incarcerated for the past months. However, the hostages have been so emotionally abused that they will not have a rational nor a full attitude of life when they are released. It shall depend upon the war that is forthcoming in your world, and also dependent upon whether there is a vast change in the attitudes of those holding the hostage, but do not see them entering in a normal way because of the change of their energy is because of the ignorance displayed in the region in which they are living.
Dr. Fischer, when and where is this war coming?
This is before you now. It is not only your inflationary depression, it is also the unrest that you're seeing in all countries. The cruelty of mankind is not only greed, it is the want for power. And that want leads to the disaster of many lives.
Yes, Doctor. I was wondering if you could comment on where Marcia Moore, the well-known yoga teacher and author, is now. Disappeared some months ago.
The person in question, since they had the adaptabilities of decorporation of the body atom, is now in other energies, and you'll find that in her disappearance, it is because her reaching the understandings in the dechemicalizing process of the body. You'll hear more of this within the short future that will answer your question.
Dr. Fischer, would you comment on the shift in the relationship of the sexes? In other words, what's happening in the relationship between men and women at this time? And also, I would like some personal information for myself about a spiritual partner in this life.
Remember that male is positive energy, femininity is receptive action. They are in the oneness of all life. And again, it is seeing it in that energy source as to yourself in all of the reactions and interreactions of the past experiences, which have been into taking the advantages of your sincerity and tenderness of life, finds you move in a new pathway. The ideals you have expressed in your thought forms materialize around you in a very short period. So express the fullness of the images of self, which shall become your reality. Is that clear?
Yes, it's clear. Well, are you saying that I should just focus on what I want and that it will actualize?
Simply by opening wide the memory banks of imagination. Visualizing what you want becomes a part of your material heritage. Here does not your dreams prove it to be so.
Okay, thank you.
What is my mission in this lifetime?
His mission moves him into different and spiritual expressions of life, and more in the rebirth process that happens around him within a few short months. There'll be an opportunity to change address. Do so, for it will lead you into the fullness of what you are representing in the world around you. I must leave you, but for only a short time. For those that are invisible to you, that are concerned with your book of life, shall move you into your dimensions of proper fulfillment in accordance with your acceptance of yourself. Here you'll witness newer changes in your life, finding that just grouping together for the main effort of your own understanding and perfection of being will service you in the months to follow. Till then, my peace to you all profound.